Confidence isn't loud. Confidence doesn't beg for attention. Confidence doesn't explain itself. Real confidence walks in silence and changes the energy of the room. If you need approval, you don't have confidence. If you need validation, you don't trust yourself. This is where confidence is built, not in comfort but in action. Self-confidence is not something you're born with. It is something you earn. It's built in the moments no one sees, when you keep promises to yourself, when you show up even when it's uncomfortable, when you do the hard things without applause. Most people mistake confidence for arrogance. But arrogance is noise. Confidence is control. Confidence is knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of, without needing to prove it to anyone. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will challenge you. But confidence doesn't come from winning every battle. It comes from knowing you won't quit. You don't build confidence by waiting. You build it by doing. Every disciplined action adds a layer. Every challenge faced strengthens your belief. Every fear confronted rewires your mind. Confidence grows when excuses die. You stop saying I can't and start asking how. You stop shrinking and start standing firm. You stop seeking permission to be yourself. Real confidence doesn't avoid failure. It expects it, learns from it, and keeps moving forward. Confidence is calm under pressure. Confidence is focus in chaos. Confidence is trust in yourself when everything feels uncertain. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is not something that suddenly appears when circumstances are perfect or when fear disappears. Confidence is built the same way strength is built, through repeated action under resistance. The moment you understand this, you stop chasing confidence and start creating it. Most people believe they need confidence before they act. In reality, action is what creates confidence. When you wait until you feel ready, you stay stuck. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. The act of stepping forward, even while unsure, is what begins the transformation. Every action you take sends a signal to your brain. When you act despite fear, your mind learns that fear is not a stop sign. It learns that discomfort is survivable. Over time, this rewires your thinking. You stop seeing fear as a threat and start seeing it as a challenge. Small actions matter more than dramatic ones. Confidence is not built through one big victory, but through hundreds of small wins. Making your bed, showing up on time, finishing what you start, speaking up when it feels uncomfortable. Each of these actions reinforces the belief that you can rely on yourself. Action creates evidence. Confidence is evidence-based. You don't believe in yourself because someone told you to. You believe in yourself because you've proven it through behavior. Evidence is powerful because it cannot be argued with. When doubt shows up, evidence shuts it down. Action also builds momentum. The first step is always the hardest because resistance is highest at the beginning. But once you move, motion creates motivation. You stop overthinking and start adjusting. Progress replaces paralysis. Fear shrinks when confronted. Avoidance feeds fear, but action starves it. Every time you face something you once avoided, you reclaim power. Confidence grows not because fear disappears, but because you stop letting fear control your decisions. Action strengthens identity. You don't become confident by repeating affirmations. You become confident by acting like someone who takes responsibility. Identity follows behavior. When you consistently act with discipline, courage, and effort, confidence becomes natural. Action also builds resilience. When things don't go as planned, confident people don't collapse, they adapt. They've learned through action that setbacks are part of growth, not proof of failure. This mindset keeps them moving forward when others quit. Confidence through action also eliminates comparison. When you are busy building, you don't have time to compare. Comparison thrives in inactivity. Action keeps your focus inward, on progress instead of performance. Every time you act, you sharpen decision-making. Indecision kills confidence. The more decisions you make, the more comfortable you become trusting your judgment. Even wrong decisions teach lessons that strengthen future choices. Action forces clarity. Thinking creates confusion. Doing creates understanding. When you act, you learn what works and what doesn't. That knowledge builds certainty. Certainty is the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you will keep moving. Action proves that to yourself daily. When you stop waiting for confidence and start acting, something shifts. You realize confidence was never missing. It was waiting to be earned through effort. And every step you take, no matter how small, adds another layer to the belief that you are capable, resilient, and in control of your direction. That self-confidence does not begin with believing you are capable. It begins with trusting yourself enough to act. Self-trust is the foundation on which self-belief is built. Without it, confidence collapses under pressure. With it, confidence remains steady even in uncertainty. Self-trust is built through consistency. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you strengthen that trust. Every time you break one, you weaken it. This is why confidence feels fragile for so many people, not because they lack ability, but because they've trained themselves not to trust their own word. You cannot think your way into self-trust. You must behave your way into it. Trust is earned through action. When you show up when it's inconvenient, when you finish what you start, when you stay disciplined even when motivation fades, you send a powerful message to yourself. I can rely on me. Self-belief grows from that message. Many people search for confidence in external validation. They look for approval, compliments, and reassurance. But external validation is unstable. It disappears when conditions change. Self-trust, on the other hand, stays with you. It's internal. It's built quietly through daily choices. Self-trust gives you courage. When you trust yourself, you're willing to take risks because you know you'll handle the outcome. Failure doesn't scare you as much because you believe in your ability to recover. This mindset transforms fear into fuel. Trusting yourself also strengthens decision-making. Doubt often comes from second-guessing. When you don't trust yourself, every decision feels heavy. You overanalyze, you delay. But when self-trust is strong, decisions become clearer. You choose, commit, and move forward. Self-trust also creates emotional stability. You're less reactive to criticism and setbacks. You don't crumble when things go wrong because your confidence isn't tied to perfect outcomes. It's tied to your character and consistency. Keeping promises to yourself builds discipline. Discipline reinforces trust. Trust fuels belief. This cycle strengthens confidence over time. It's not fast, but it's reliable. Self-trust also eliminates excuses. When you know you're capable of showing up, excuses lose their power. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop delaying progress. You do what needs to be done because you respect your word. This respect is key. Confidence is not arrogance. It's self-respect. It's knowing that your commitments matter. It's honoring your standards even when no one's watching. When self-trust is strong, you stop seeking permission. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You act with intention because you trust your ability to figure things out along the way. Self-belief built on self-trust is unshakable. It doesn't disappear when you fail. It doesn't depend on praise. It doesn't fade when conditions get tough. It stays because it's rooted in proof. The more you trust yourself, the less you fear judgment. You don't need everyone to understand your path. You don't need constant reassurance. You move forward with quiet confidence. This is how real confidence is built. Not through hype, not through affirmations alone, but through consistent action, discipline, and self-respect. Every kept promise strengthens the belief that you are capable of more than you once thought. That comfort feels safe, but it keeps you small. Confidence does not grow where everything is familiar and easy. It grows where you are challenged, stretched, and forced to adapt. Discomfort is not the enemy of confidence. It is the training ground where confidence is forged. Most people avoid discomfort because it triggers fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt. But these feelings are not signs that you're weak. They are signs that you're entering new territory. Every time you step into something unfamiliar, your nervous system reacts. This reaction is natural. The mistake is believing it means you should stop. Confidence grows the moment you stay. When you stay in discomfort, instead of escaping it, your mind learns something important. You can handle more than you thought. That realization changes everything. The situation may not change immediately, but your relationship with it does. Fear loses its authority when it no longer controls your behavior. Discomfort builds emotional strength. When you face awkward conversations, difficult decisions, or challenging environments, you train your emotional muscles. You become less reactive. You learn to stay calm under pressure. This emotional control is a key component of confidence. Growth always demands adjustment. New challenges require new skills, new habits, and new perspectives. Discomfort signals that adjustment is happening. Avoiding it means avoiding growth. Embracing it means accelerating development. Confidence built in comfort is fragile. It disappears when conditions change. Confidence built in discomfort is resilient. It stays with you because it was earned through struggle. You've tested yourself. You've faced resistance. You've survived. Discomfort also sharpens awareness. When things are easy, you operate on autopilot. When things are hard, you pay attention. You learn faster. You become more present. This awareness strengthens confidence because you understand your capabilities more clearly. Every uncomfortable action becomes evidence. Evidence that you can speak up. Evidence that you can try again. Evidence that you can endure. Over time, this evidence stacks. Confidence becomes the natural result of repeated exposure to difficulty. Discomfort also kills perfectionism. When you step into challenging situations, you realize that perfection is unrealistic. You make mistakes. You learn. You adjust. This process frees you from the fear of failure and replaces it with a willingness to improve. Choosing discomfort builds courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of it. Every courageous act reinforces confidence because it proves that fear does not dictate your limits. Discomfort also creates humility. You realize you don't know everything, and that's okay. Confidence doesn't require certainty, it requires adaptability. This mindset keeps you growing instead of stuck. As you repeatedly face discomfort, your comfort zone expands. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once caused anxiety becomes routine. Confidence is simply familiarity with difficulty. Discomfort teaches you to trust the process. You stop needing guarantees. You accept uncertainty. You move forward anyway. This trust strengthens confidence because you are no longer dependent on perfect conditions. Confidence gained through discomfort is quiet. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need validation. It comes from knowing that no matter what situation you're placed in, you will respond with effort, learning, and persistence. This kind of confidence doesn't show up overnight. It's built through repetition, through showing up again and again, through choosing the harder path when the easier one is available. Discomfort is the price of growth. Confidence is the reward. And every time you choose to stay instead of retreat, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of becoming more than you are today. Inner strength is not something you show. It's something you carry. It's the quiet force that keeps you moving when motivation disappears and circumstances turn against you. Discipline is what builds that force. Without discipline, confidence collapses under pressure. With discipline, confidence becomes stable, grounded, and unbreakable. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of mood. It separates intention from execution. Anyone can feel confident on a good day. Inner strength is revealed on the hard days, when energy is low, when doubt is loud, when quitting feels easier than continuing. Discipline is what keeps you standing in those moments. Every disciplined action reinforces control. Control over your time, control over your reactions, control over your habits. When you practice discipline daily, you stop feeling at the mercy of circumstances. You begin to trust yourself because you've proven that you can follow through even when it's uncomfortable. Inner strength grows through repetition. One disciplined choice is small, but repeated daily it becomes identity. You don't have to think about showing up, you just do. This removes friction. Confidence rises naturally when effort becomes automatic. Discipline also eliminates chaos. When your actions are structured, your mind becomes calmer. Anxiety decreases because uncertainty decreases. You know what needs to be done, and you do it. This clarity builds inner stability, which is the core of true confidence. Discipline trains patience. It teaches you to delay gratification and resist impulses. Impulse-driven behavior weakens confidence because it creates inconsistency. Discipline creates alignment between who you are and how you act. That alignment strengthens self-respect. Inner strength is built when no one is watching. Discipline doesn't rely on applause or accountability from others. It relies on standards. You hold yourself to those standards even in silence. This self-governance is powerful because it doesn't disappear when external pressure is gone. Discipline also strengthens emotional resilience. When you're disciplined, emotions don't control your behavior. You don't quit because you're tired. You don't react because you're offended. You respond intentionally. This emotional control is a major component of inner strength. Through discipline, you develop tolerance for discomfort. You become comfortable doing hard things. This tolerance expands your capacity. What once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. Confidence grows because you've increased what you can endure. Discipline builds credibility with yourself. Every completed task, every resisted excuse, every hard decision honored builds trust. That trust is the foundation of confidence. You don't need to hype yourself up because you've already proven your reliability. Inner strength also comes from restraint. Discipline teaches you when not to act, when to stay silent, when to conserve energy. This restraint prevents burnout and preserves focus. Strength is not always about pushing harder. Sometimes it's about staying consistent longer. Discipline sharpens awareness. You begin to notice patterns in your behavior. You see what strengthens you and what weakens you. This awareness allows refinement. You improve not by accident, but by intention. When discipline becomes part of who you are, confidence stops being emotional and becomes structural. It's built into your routine, your habits, your standards. Even on days when you feel unsure, your discipline carries you forward. Inner strength, built through discipline, doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need to prove anything. It shows up in calm responses, steady effort, and quiet consistency. People feel it even if they can't explain it. Discipline doesn't make life easy. It makes you strong enough to handle difficulty. And that strength grows every time you choose action over excuses, structure over chaos, and standards over comfort. True confidence does not announce itself. It doesn't demand attention or seek approval. It doesn't need to dominate a room to be felt. Real confidence is quiet, grounded, and steady. It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of without needing to explain it to anyone. Most people confuse confidence with loudness. They think confidence is speaking the most, showing the most, or being seen the most. But loudness is often compensation. When someone is secure within themselves, there is no need to perform. Confidence shows up in posture, tone, patience, and restraint. Quiet confidence is built through experience. It grows when you face challenges and survive them, when you make mistakes and learn from them, when you fall short and keep going. Each of these moments strengthens your internal belief system. You stop needing reassurance because you've been tested. Unshakable confidence comes from alignment. Your actions match your values. Your words match your behavior. This consistency creates inner peace. When there is no gap between who you say you are and how you live, doubt loses its power. Quiet confidence also creates emotional control. You don't overreact to criticism or praise. You accept feedback without losing balance. You stay calm under pressure because your confidence isn't tied to outcomes, it's tied to effort and integrity. This type of confidence makes you resilient. Setbacks don't define you. Failure doesn't destroy you. You see challenges as part of the journey, not as signs of inadequacy. You trust yourself to adapt and continue. Quiet confidence does not compare. Comparison comes from insecurity. When you are confident, you respect other people's paths without questioning your own. You stay in your lane because you know progress isn't a race, it's a process. Confidence that is unshakable is also humble. It recognizes growth is ongoing. You don't pretend to know everything. You stay open to learning. This humility strengthens confidence because it keeps you improving instead of defending your ego. Quiet confidence influences without force. People feel safe around it. They trust it. It doesn't need to convince, it attracts. This influence comes from authenticity, not dominance. Unshakable confidence is patient. It understands that the results take time. You don't rush success or panic during delays. You stay committed because your belief is rooted in process, not speed. Confidence also grows stronger in solitude. When you spend time alone, you learn to rely on yourself. You face your thoughts honestly. You build independence. This solitude strengthens confidence because it removes dependency on external validation. Quiet confidence doesn't crumble under pressure. It adapts. It stays steady. It holds its ground. Even when uncertainty is high, confidence remains because it's built on self-trust. This confidence is earned, not claimed. It comes from discipline, discomfort, and consistency. From showing up repeatedly when it would be easier to quit. From choosing growth over comfort. When confidence is quiet, it doesn't need to be proven. It stands firm in uncertainty and calm in chaos. Build it through action, discipline, and self-respect, and once it's built, nothing external can take it away.